All right, I'm going to be teaching how to create and export a custom entity model using Blockbench. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set up your resource pack. So I would just put it in the resource pack folder, and then I named mine example pack, and then you're going to need these things in here. Just a thumbnail. You can add no thumbnail, and it will just be a basic thumbnail that the game provides, and it needs to be 512 by 512. Nothing else will work. Here, I would just scum this off of another resource pack instead of trying to make this, but you can. It's an MC meta file. It's just called pack, and then it has this in here, which just has the pack format, which is the version that it is good for. That doesn't matter. It just will tell the game whether or not to warn you if you're using the wrong version, and then the description is whatever you want in quotation marks. All right, and then you're gonna want so just if you don't have any of these folders, just create the folders and name them exactly what's here. So we have the assets folder. Then inside you're going to make the Minecraft folder. And then you're going to want an Optifine folder. And this is important because you need Optifine for this to work. That's why it doesn't work on Bedrock, or at least this method doesn't. And everyone who uses this texture pack will only be able to see the entities if they have Optifine. So you make Optifine, and then in here you're going to put CEM as the title of this one. And it stands for Custom Entity Model, I think. And then in here I already created the entity, but I'll show you how to do it. So once you have that, that is all you need for the entity. You can throw your textures into another texture file, but that's just more complicated than we need to do. So once you bring up Blockbench, you have these options here. You don't use any of these. What you're going to want to do is go up to File, and then down to Plugins, and then you're going to click Available, and then look up CEM Template Loader. I already have it installed, so I can't look it up. But once you have that installed, you'll be able to have this this option right here. And then this option will kind of lead you through it. There's also a modeling tutorial here. It's a little bit more in depth, so use that one if you have any questions that I don't answer. So you're going to click this, and a little bit about these screens. These are all of the entity models that you can edit right here. We have a couple other sections here. You don't need to worry about any of these. These right here and this unsupported are all of the models that you can't edit with Optifine. So you can't edit any of these. So if you were expecting to be able to edit armor or a player model, you can't. So today I will be just making a zombie look like a skeleton and then giving it an animation different than what a zombie usually has. So down here we have the zombie, and then you can load the vanilla texture, or you can just leave it untextured and add a new one. I'm going to load the texture just so you can see it a little bit better. And then you can load it into your current project. I wouldn't do that. I just start a new one and then load your model that you've already made, if you've already made one, into this one. It's just easier that way. So you're going to load that up, and here is the zombie. Some really important things to know about modeling for a custom entity model is to never alter these files, these collections, these groups is what they're called. So don't move them, don't alter the pivot point, don't rotate, don't do any of that. If you want to move like the head, you want to move the head cube, open, like drop it down, grab this, and then move it. Or if you want to rotate it or do something more advanced, click Add Group and then add that into the group, and then rename it whatever you want it to be called. So this one can be New Head. And then we can then click that, and then it set the pivot point down here. We can move the pivot point up to the neck, or if you want the pivot point somewhere else for some reason and you want it to rotate around that axis, that's fine. But that is how you do that without messing up the model. If you do alter the model, it will be pretty hard to fix, or at least then to continue smoothly editing if you do mess that up. And I would also keep everything inside one of these components. So just grab it, or make sure it's only selected here. Grab it and then throw it into the new, you can call this new body instead if you'd like. And then you can use this method to also copy and then paste it into your next, into your actual project if this isn't your actual project. So for example, if you made this model before you watched this tutorial and you wanted to then import it into another spot, so you could group it like I did with these. So you have each individual cube here, and I just added a group and then threw them all in the group. And then what you can do is then select the group, right click, copy, and then you just press Control V to add it. Obviously, it's now trying to apply the zombie texture, so it's going to look weird. Whoops. So I'm going to delete that. And that is going to be the basic elements of modeling. I'm going to not really show you much when it comes to actual modeling, because you probably know that already. Those are just the important commandments of not altering any of these files, otherwise you will break the model. Alright, so now I'm going to move over to my model that I already created, which I am replacing the zombie with a skeleton model. And then I'm going to reanimate it to not have its arms out like a zombie and just walk like a skeleton does. So here I have everything located in the body folder, which I have not edited. Remember, do not edit any of these portions of that file. I put everything in a new folder called new body, and then every component that I wanted to animate, so like I wanted to animate the head, I wanted to animate the leg, the other leg, and then the two arms. I want all of those to have separate animations, so I put them in a separate group. This other one, which is the body, just will take the body animation where it'll turn wherever the entity turns. So I didn't have to put that in a group, and I also didn't have to rotate it. If you want to rotate it, you also have to put it in a group and then set a pivot point. So to edit it, or to animate it, you're going to go down here to this animation editor. It's usually closed, so just click this little thing and it'll open the Dropbox. And same thing with the animation controller. Just click this and it will open it up for you. And these are the animations that you're going to want if you're doing something like this. The components of this little code block here are the group. So this one is new head, and so you have this category, new head, right here. And I put them all under this folder just so that, like, in head, I don't have one in head and one in headwear and one in left arm. You can put all of the animations in here. It does not matter whether or not it's actually in this group or not. It can still recognize it. But just keeping in one spot organizes it, makes it way easier. So the component, and then what you're actually doing here. And then this is algebra. So this right here is 2 radians, so it converts it from degrees to radians. And then this is the variable that you're going to be using. All the variables and all the things that you can do, like the so you have the variables, you have the constraints, as well as the parameters. All those other things are all going to be located here, as well as the operators and all the functions you can do. You can probably do more advanced animations if you know more advanced math, like algebra. If you don't, you can just use these. These are fairly simple. So right here we have the new head, and then this is the RX. So this is going to be the rotation of the x-axis, and this is going to be the head pitch. So all of this code is going to make the head go up and down, or look up and down. And this one is the RY, which is going to be the y-axis, or rotate around the y-axis. And then this is going to be the head yaw variable, which is going to help it go right and left. And then here you have the legs. and then this is going to be the sine of limb swing times limb speed, which those can be found in the documentation. And I have one that is multiplied by -1, and that makes it so that one will swing forward and then the other one will swing backwards, rather than them both swinging forward at the same time and then both swinging backwards. That will make a weird hopping animation that I'm assuming you don't want. So you can see that in action right here. If you click this animation play button, it will play whatever animation, and then over here in the animation controller, you can click, this will toggle limb swing, so you want to keep that on if you're looking at the limbs, and then this is the head pitch, which helps it look up and down, and the head yaw, which makes it look left and right, and then this is the limb speed, so this is about walking speed. This is slower than walking speed, all the way down to not walking, and then all the way up to sprinting. You can also edit these variables here, so if you want to make the limb swing swing faster, I believe that's what this one does. It will be, you can multiply it by 2, for example, and you can see this one swings back and forth twice as fast. And then limb speed, if you go over here and alter this one to ×2, it will make that one swing for twice as, it's either twice as long or it makes the actual stride longer. But you can play around with those, and if this looks better for your entity, go ahead and use that. So yeah, you can just play around with these operators and see if you can create a better animation, but these are going to be the basic ones for a player type model. So now we can go into the game and see our new model in action. Or to do this, we're going to want to go up to File, and then click this, or not click it, but hover over to Export, and then click Export Optifine GEM. And then I already have the file location here, which is in your resource packs. And then you have your pack, whatever it's called, then assets, Minecraft, Optifine, and then the CEM. And so if you're finding that, you'll come up to here, go in here, and then I already have mine loaded or saved in here. I don't want to resave mine because I don't know what I edited, if I edited anything. But you just click that and save it, and it'll update that. If it's not there already, you just click save and it'll save it there for you. Little note, make sure that you save the skeleton or your texture, mine skeleton, you save it into somewhere in your texture pack, and then re-export your file after that, and it will apply that texture. Otherwise, it will be invisible. So, yep, we can hop into Minecraft and then see our textures in action. If we open up Minecraft, we can see that it's just a basic body, and then we have a skeleton here. And if you go into your resource packs and you load up, this is the example pack from earlier, load that in, click done. Alright, and you can see that the zombie now sounds like a zombie, but looks like a skeleton. The animation is different. The arms are no longer forward, they're now to the side, and